In the northern corner of Oregon, nestled between long-forgotten rail lines and overgrown logging roads, lies a town not found on any modern map. It's called Winslow Junction. No population data, no zip code, no road signs. But according to old county records from 1928, Winslow was once a bustling railroad stop with over 4,000 residents, before it disappeared from public mention entirely in 1953. Locals in nearby towns claim the area is cursed. GPS devices fail near the coordinates. Cell signal dies within a mile. Even Google Earth has a strange blank spot where Winslow should be. But those who stumble into it, usually lost hikers or wandering drivers, report one structure still standing in pristine condition, a brick library. No dust, no cobwebs, working lights, a fire always burning gently in the heart, and inside it, books, thousands of them, and every single one of them is about you. The first recorded encounter came in 1981. A man named Charles Davin, a surveyor for the National Forestry Service, filed a report describing an abandoned but strangely maintained library. His notes say he walked in, found a biography with his full name on the spine, and opened it to read about things he hadn't yet done. He left. A week later, his cabin caught fire in the exact way described in the book. He never went back, but others did. A teenager in 1996, a documentary filmmaker in 2003, a group of amateur ghost hunters in 2011. Each found the library, each found books about themselves, and each left change, or didn't leave at all. The shelves seem endless. They wrap, spiral, and fold into corners that shouldn't physically exist. One hallway of books loops infinitely. Another leads only to mirrors. Some sections are organized alphabetically, others, emotionally. But the strangest part? The books update in real time. A backpacker who visited in 2017 reported opening a book about his life and flipping to a chapter labeled, "Right Now." It described him standing in the library, reading the book, and then, coughing. He laughed, then coughed, and coughed again. The next line read, he dropped to his knees, clutching his throat. He closed the book, ran, survived, barely. What makes the library unbearable for some isn't just the content of the books, it's how much they know. One man found a chapter that detailed a secret he never told anyone. Another found the exact wording of a letter he planned to send, but never wrote. A young woman opened a red-bound volume to find a memory she had repressed, down to the name of the man who made her forget. But the books don't just reflect, they warn. Some readers open to pages that end with dates, not titles, not summaries, just October 14, 2029, she never came back. Or February 2, 2037, he stayed too long. Or worse, right now. The library is said to shift shape depending on who enters it. One visitor described it as warm, mahogany tone, filled with oil lamps and grandfather clocks. Another found it fluorescent, sterile, walls lined with card catalog drawers and typewriters. A third walked into total darkness. The shelves glowed dimly, and the books hissed when opened. He never said what he saw. In 2018, a Reddit user named Third Window posted about finding the library after his car broke down during a cross-country drive. He claimed to have read 4 chapters ahead in his book, and saw that he would be killed by a man with no eyes at a gas station in Colorado. Terrified, he rerouted his trip. He deleted the post 2 days later. But before he did, one user archived it. 3 weeks later, a news report surfaced. A body found at a gas station outside Cheyenne, Wyoming. No ID, no eyes. Not all the books are in English. Some are written in symbols that pulse faintly as you read. Others in languages not found in any linguistic database. One researcher described pages written in a voice. They spoke to you as you read, even if the page was blank. But one thing is always the same. Every book has a last page. And those who turn to it often go missing. They call them the quiet readers. The people who never left the library. No one knows how many there are. No one has seen them clearly, but visitors often describe the feeling of not being alone. Hearing pages turn in other aisles, footsteps on hardwood, a throat clearing somewhere behind a shelf, even though no one is there. One man followed the sound of breathing for 20 minutes, only to find a worn coat on the ground. In its pocket was a notebook. Inside, page after page of someone writing about themselves, but in the third person. He stopped reading 3 hours ago, but the book kept going. In 2019, a local journalist named Elena Ray attempted to investigate the phenomenon. She found the town, found the library, then disappeared. For 2 months, nothing. Then, an anonymous envelope was mailed to her editor. Inside was a book, leather-bound, unmarked. The title page simply read, "The Story of Elena Ray." The chapters included, "Arrival, the quiet floor, no more windows." She stops writing, she begins to fade. The last page was handwritten. If found, return to shelf 3. Row 9. Section R. She's still there. Some believe the library exists outside of linear time. One hiker entered in the morning and emerged to find 3 days had passed. Another claimed the date on his phone jumped forward 5 years. The worst story? A woman entered in 1989. She returned in 2020. Same clothes, same age. Her family had moved on. She had been declared dead. But she remembered nothing, except books. And whispers. Then there are the rooms you're not supposed to open. Visitors report doors without handles, labeled only with cryptic signs. The author's wing. Storage. Not yours. You'll forget this room. One such door reportedly leads to a spiral staircase of mirrors. Another to a room of desks, each with a lamp and a journal. One visitor claimed to see someone sitting at a desk, frantically writing. But the face was his own. He turned. The person disappeared. The journal was blank, until he opened it again. I knew he would read this. That's why I left. No one who has stayed longer than 4 hours reports a clear memory afterward. Some forget the way back. Some forget their name. Some return with an entirely different memory of the world, as if the library overwrote something fundamental. And in rare cases, they remember other lives. Lives they've never lived. People they've never been. Books they've never written, until now. At the very center of the library, past the spiraling archives and rooms without names, is a staircase that leads down. It isn't marked. It appears only to some. And once you see it, it's said you can never unsee it. The staircase leads to a stone hallway, older than the rest of the library, lit only by oil lamps. And at the end, a door. No knob, only a plate of tarnished brass. Etched into it, the archive of final editions. Inside is a single desk, and on it, a book. It has your name, but unlike the ones upstairs, this one is bound shut. No title page, no chapters, only the cover and one line in gold foil. You were never meant to finish reading. One man tried. He pried it open with a letter opener. He was never seen again. The security camera outside his home later recorded an odd moment. At 3:17 a.m., his porch light flickered. And from the shadows, a second version of him stepped into frame. Same clothes, same face, but it never blinked. It looked into the camera and said, "I've been returned." The truth is this: the library isn't a building. It isn't even a place. It's a record of everything you are, were, and will be. But it doesn't just record, it rewrites. When you read your story, it becomes real. When you skip ahead, it adjusts. And when you finish the book, you cease to be the author. Something else takes over. That's why the last page is dangerous. Because once it's read, the book begins writing itself. No one knows who built the library, or when, or why. Some believe it was created by a civilization that predated ours. Others say it's the afterlife. Not heaven, not hell, just storage for consciousness. But maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the real question isn't, what is the library? But rather, when will yours be written? Quote, "So if you ever find yourself walking through the woods and stumble across a town that shouldn't exist, if you see a brick building with no lights but an unlocked door, and you smell the faint scent of paper and burning wood. Don't go inside, and if you do, don't read your book, especially not the last page. This is Fade to Black, where the stories they tried to erase write themselves back in. Like, comment, subscribe, before this channel disappears too. Thank you for staying with us until the end. If you're still here, you're part of the few who ask the questions most are too afraid to read aloud. Let us know in the comments. If you found a book about your life, would you turn the last page? Stay curious, stay aware, and if the shelves ever whisper your name, don't answer. This is Fade to Black.